Australia faces significant economic challenges as rising global trade tensions and the prospect of a potential Donald Trump presidency in the United States loom large. Treasurer Jim Chalmers is set to address these issues in a speech on Monday at the Australian Institute of International Affairs, highlighting the economic fragility and instability that mark the current global landscape. He will reassure Australians that the government is prepared to navigate these challenges while emphasising the need for adaptability in an uncertain world. Chalmers will touch upon the possible consequences of Trump's proposed economic policies. If Trump returns to the White House, he is expected to introduce new tariffs on imports and reduce taxes, which could trigger inflationary pressures in the United States. The Treasurer is prepared to discuss how such policies might indirectly impact Australia, especially if China, a major trading partner, faces economic setbacks due to heightened U.S. tariffs. Treasury Secretary Stephen Kennedy recently informed a Senate estimates hearing that Trump's proposed tariffs, ranging from a baseline of 10% to as high as 60% on Chinese goods, could lead to slower global economic growth and heightened inflation. These policies could dampen China's demand for Australian exports, particularly iron ore, which has already experienced a price decline due to a slowdown in China's steel and real estate sectors. Chalmers will acknowledge Treasury modelling that forecasts minor short-term decreases in Australian output and increased price pressures if global trade tensions escalate. However, he remains optimistic about Australia's ability to mitigate these effects through its flexible exchange rate and independent Reserve Bank. These factors, he believes, position the nation to better handle external economic shocks compared to other countries. Despite global uncertainties, Chalmers will assert that Australia's strong relationship with the United States, founded on shared values and interests, is robust enough to withstand changes in political leadership. He will emphasize that this partnership is not dictated by partisanship but by long-standing bilateral engagement, ensuring stability even under a second Trump administration. Australia's economic landscape has been shaped by various challenges, including global inflationary pressures, elevated interest rates, and cost-of-living concerns. The Reserve Bank recently revised its GDP growth forecast to 1.5% for 2024, while the International Monetary Fund predicts an even slower growth rate of 1.2% this year. CARMEX chief economist Ryan Felsman estimates a GDP growth rate of 0.4% for the September quarter, with annual growth expected to reach 1.1%. Chalmers will emphasize that while national statistics suggest a steady path towards economic recovery, these figures do not always align with individual experiences. Many Australians continue to face significant challenges due to inflation and economic uncertainty, which the government is addressing through targeted cost-of-living support. China's economic slowdown, driven by difficulties in its construction and real estate sectors, has significantly impacted global steel demand, a critical factor for Australian iron ore exports. Treasury projections indicate a $39 billion decline in iron ore revenues by the 2025-26 fiscal year. Beijing has responded by introducing measures to increase liquidity, aiming to stimulate property purchases and stabilize its economy. In his speech, Chalmers will commend Kevin Rudd, the Australian ambassador to the US, for his efforts in strengthening bilateral ties. Despite Rudd's previous criticisms of Trump, his work in Washington, D.C., has fostered connections across political lines. Rudd's outreach has included meetings with key figures from both Vice President Kamala Harris's and Trump's teams, facilitating dialogue on economic and trade policies. Chalmers will highlight a meeting with Scott Bessent, a prominent Trump fundraiser and potential U.S. Treasury Secretary candidate, which allowed for in-depth discussions on monetary policy, tariffs, and trade. He will underline the importance of diplomacy in navigating the interconnected realms of foreign and economic policy during times of uncertainty. Chalmers will assure Australians that the government is committed to navigating the complex global economic environment. He will emphasize that while trade tensions and geopolitical shifts pose challenges, Australia's economic fundamentals, such as a flexible exchange rate, an independent central bank, and a strong U.S. partnership, provide a foundation for resilience. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has echoed similar sentiments, acknowledging that global inflation has affected Australia, albeit with a delayed impact compared to other nations. He stressed the government's efforts to address cost-of-living pressures and ensure economic stability. Thank you for watching Aussie Pulse. Stay tuned for more updates on the stories that matter to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed. See you next time.